Chapter 1, Back the Way We Came. A horrible idea. Leaving Lysabotten should have felt like escaping a cursed video game level, but Emma, determined as ever, decided we'd drive back up the same evil mountain road that had nearly melted the rolling den's brakes. The Lysabotten road twisted ahead like a coiled snake, daring us to return. The van wheezed like an asthmatic pensioner climbing Everest, but Emma pressed onward with manic enthusiasm. "Adventure awaits!" she cheered, gripping the steering wheel like she was fleeing from tax collectors. I dug my claws into the dashboard. So does certain doom, but sure, YOLO, right? The engine moaned, the brakes screamed, and I mentally updated my will. Emma still gets nothing. Somehow, through dark sorcery or pure spite, we survived the climb and reached the frozen hostile expanse of Setesdalshire, where winter's icy grip refused to let go. Chapter 2, Setesdalshire. Winter's final revenge. The barren expanse of Setesdalshire stretched before us like nature's unfinished project. Snow clung stubbornly to the ground like an ex who refuses to move on. Emma gasped in delight. "Look at all the snow." I squinted through the Arctic wasteland. Great. Nature's 404 error page. The wind slapped me across the face like a lawsuit I didn't see coming. Sheep wandered lazily through the snow, chewing like royalty. They stared at our van like landlords evaluating late rent. We passed enormous hydroelectric dams towering over the icy expanse like ancient fortresses of modern engineering. Their massive walls held back entire lakes, producing enough electricity to light half of Europe. Emma smiled proudly. "These dams power all of Europe," I snorted. "And you buy it back from coal plants. Efficient." The dams loomed behind us as the road twisted deeper into the snow-choked wilderness. Chapter 3, Rustad, Inbreeding and Mystery. After hours of wind-battered misery, we stumbled into Ristad, a village that looked like time forgot, on purpose. Its crooked wooden cabins leaned precariously, as though gravity itself was tired of holding them up. The locals stared. Their expressions were equal parts suspicion and mild curiosity, like aliens spotting their first earthling. Emma pulled up outside a crumbling roadside cafe. Its faded sign read CF, with the rest lost to decades of grime. An elderly man emerged, his face etched with stories no one wanted to hear. He looked like a Viking relic unearthed by accident. "You," he rasped in prehistoric English, sounding like a dying radio transmission from Viking FM. Emma smiled brightly. "Coffee, please." He grunted and disappeared inside, leaving behind a silence so thick you could chisel it into blocks. I narrowed my eyes. This is how horror movies start. He returned with something masquerading as coffee, blacker than a tax audit, steam rising like vengeful spirits. Emma, ever heroic, took a sip. Her face went through all 5 stages of grief in less than 2 seconds. "Authentic experience," she gasped, eyes watering. I sniffed the cup cautiously. "This isn't coffee, it's liquid sentencing." As we left, I muttered, "They look inbred, like royalty." Chapter 4, Hovden, Cold but Manageable. We escaped Ristad like outlaws fleeing a botched heist. The road climbed higher and higher, winding through glacial valleys and forested hills. By the time we reached Hovden, the snow had all but vanished, leaving behind crisp mountain air and clear roads. It felt like a different world, less frozen wasteland and more luxury postcard. Ski lodges stood silent but inviting, their modern facades gleaming in the sunlight. Chairlifts hung still and lifeless, like retired theme park rides. Emma parked near an overlook and gasped in awe. "Isn't this stunning, Fluffy?" The jagged peak stretched into forever, dusted with glacial brilliance. I perched on a rock, tail flicking with barely restrained contempt. Stunning, in a we're-not-making-it-out-alive kind of way. The wind tugged at my fur like a pickpocket with ambition. "If we're camping here," I hissed, "I'm eating the first tourist we see." Chapter 5, The Road to Galdhøpiggen. From Hovden, the road twisted through desolate valleys and towering cliffs. Each turn felt like testing fate in a poorly written survival movie. Emma's reckless optimism burned brighter than our last working brake light. "Almost there," she cheered. I narrowed my eyes. "Define there." At long last, we arrived at Goldapiggen, Norway's highest mountain, standing at 2,469 metres above sea level. Its snow-covered peaks loomed menacingly, daring anyone foolish enough to climb. Emma hopped out, glowing with determination. "We'll climb that tomorrow," she announced. I stared at the impossible ascent, calculating survival odds. You climb it. I inherit the van. Ending scene, a silent night. The sun bled away behind the peaks, leaving the valley bathed in twilight. Emma brewed tea near the crackling campfire, humming some cheerful tune that felt wildly inappropriate. I curled up by the fire, finally warm, tail wrapped securely around my paws. The wind shrieked through the cliffs like a banshee auditioning for a metal band. Stars glittered across the endless sky, cold and ruthless. Emma stared up at Goldapiggen with delusional determination. "Tomorrow, we climb." I closed my eyes. "Tomorrow you climb, I supervise your inevitable disaster."